चुपके सबको रही है खबर, चुपके चुपके मिले हो तुम हमको बड़े नसीबों से, चुराया है मैंने किस्मत की लकीरों से। तेनू सुट सुट करदा, ओ तेनू सुट सुट करदा, ओ सुट करदा, तेनू सुट सुट करदा। वादा रहा प्यार से प्यार का, अब हम होंगे जुदा। मेरी धड़कनें सुन रहा है खुदा, सुन रहा है खुदा। तुम मिले दिल खिले और जीने को क्या चाहिए, कोका कोला तू, शोला शोला तू। I wanna see you well like Rihanna, get on the phone now, bum diggy diggy bum bum. She got it up like the summer, she turns me up, little bum diggy diggy bum bum. आशिक बनाया
All right, super duper. Welcome all of you here. Let's see who all are in the room. Very good morning to you, Malika. So nice to see you here. All right, Aditi, Neha, Kajal, Kalpana Sharma. Super good morning, darling. Anshu Sahani. Hi, sweetheart. Makeup with Neelu. Hello. Ruby Rana. Super good morning to you, sweetheart. Devika Win. So nice to see you here. Rajshri, life coach. Good morning, my Jan. Good morning to Hamza Gopal Swami. Trisha, life coach. Saubana, of course, Saubana. Nutan is saying, you really make my mornings good. Oh, and you make mine. Thank you, Savita Sujay. Very good morning to you, darling. Yashna, hi, sweetheart. Sending you good vibes this morning. Thank you. Mansi Jaikar, Saubana. Shreya is asking, where do you update your live timings, Puja? In my stories. So the best thing to do is, if on Tuesday you just go check out my stories, you'll know whether I'm coming Wednesday morning 10 to 11 or Wednesday evening 4 to 5. Normally these are the timings. I ideally don't like to change it depending on my convenience. Either it is morning 10 to 11 or 4 to 5. Okay? So just go check out my stories. Kaveri Shubham, very good morning to you. Mansi Jaikar, good morning to you. Bloom with Aarti, very good morning to you, my darling. Which playlist is this? Let me check. I keep playing, I don't know from where also. It's called Old versus New Hindi Mashup Song Live. I don't know which. Can I just show it to you? Can you? I don't know if you're able to see it. There's too much glare. Okay, let me share it in my stories today. Okay, I'll share my playlist in the stories so that you can all see, and in case you wanna. All right, you know what I like? I like that the song moves every 20 seconds, so that way you don't get stuck with one full song, है ना? All right, good morning, Deepa, Sindhu Chauhan, Aarti, Megha Agarwal. Hello, ma'am, you're looking beautiful. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm just coming from a function. How we have the Haldi function in the north, my friends had a Nalagu function. Nalagu function is the equivalent of that in the south of India. Selvi, hi darling. Aanchal, Nivi, Neha Bakliwal. Petty issues become big because we don't know what was in the other person's mind and we act the other way. It's always, I ask for forgiveness even if it's not my fault. How to build a stronger bond. Neha, in my opinion, just the fact that you can recognize the thing that it's a petty issue, in itself you have to now start to decide, do you really want to entertain this issue? Do you want to be a part of you know, a lot of times later on we feel we could have just let it pass had we been a little more mature or a little more, you know, generous in our forgiveness. So instead of later on asking for forgiveness, especially if you're like me, when I'm like that, if I realize it's my mistake, I quickly ask for forgiveness. If I believe it is not my mistake, I ask for forgiveness, but I let them know that, you know what, it was not intentional. And if I have played any part in hurting you, so I also make it very clear that I don't know if I'm at fault. However, there's no one person playing the tali, so as you need two hands to play the tali, so okay, I may have played a role, but I won't simply just apologize if it's not my fault. I will do whatever it takes to mend it, but apologizing when it's not your fault is training the other person to become a little bit of, what do you call that, blasé. So you don't want to do that either. You don't want people knowing that, oh, she's weak, she'll apologize any which ways, with her we can do anything we like. Yeah, so you can always explain to them that, look, what I'm apologizing for is the fact that we had a misunderstanding. I'm apologizing because both our hearts are hurting. I'm apologizing because I'm sure I also did something that was not right. I may not know, but I'm sure something must have happened. So like that also you can add. Okay, if you want to build a stronger bond, look at what are the conversations you're having with this person when you are not in a war zone or in conflict zone with them. I think the most important conversations are had when there is peace. So what we normally do is, in peace, we don't want to touch any conflicting conversations. So that's one of the biggest problems. I love to, when things settle down, so that something doesn't happen the next time, I like to create some sort of code of rules or honor or something around it. So let's say I've had a fight with my sister-in-law over her using the driver without informing me. I'm just taking a very random example. Let's say that's the case. So at that point, maybe it'll all get sorted with something where we both will talk about. But later on, it's very important that the next time this doesn't happen. And what are you doing to make sure that the next time it doesn't happen? So for me, it's not that fight that is important. For me, it is the red flag that sharing a driver is in itself a problem area. So okay, fine. Can we pre-decide that on Monday, Wednesday and Friday the driver is yours, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday he's mine? Or can we decide that, you know what, on the previous day we must inform the other what time to what time we need the driver? What am I doing now? I'm making sure that at least in the future I'm not in the same place. One of the things I always tell Puneet is, I don't want to be fighting about the same thing 10 years from now with you. Let's sort it this time itself. Okay, so I don't like this conversation. What we normally do is we run away from conversations we don't like. But then, you know what, we haven't found a solution to it if we run away from it. So important is to actually address it. So look for future. How are you going to be able to handle the same situation if it had to happen again? What would you do differently? What would you want them to do differently? And if you can have that discussion when you are in peace, you have just removed one full... Remember, all of our conflicts are not on new things. Most of our conflicts are repetitive. On the same thing we are going on getting hurt. Because either we are not communicating properly or the other person doesn't know what our expectations is. Whatever the reason is, it's a pattern. And you want to break the pattern by bringing in some new rules, some new laws, some new whatever is required. So always think, okay, this conflict is just an highlighter of what needs to be handled in my life. Start to treat, whether with your children, with your spouse or with the larger family, start to treat every conflict as a highlighter so that these can be removed. Imagine by the end of the year how beautiful your garden will be if you've plucked out all these weeds that caused the conflict. Yeah? मैडम हिंदी में बोलिए ना, ज़्यादा प्यारी लगोगी. पता है, आई रियली वॉन्ट टू स्टार्ट माई ओन हिंदी चैनल बड़ी जल्दी से, बिकॉज इतने ज़्यादा लोग और इतनी ज़्यादा रिक्वेस्ट आती है हिंदी में बात करने की, एंड आई एक्चुअली लव स्पीकिंग इन हिंदी. बट इतने सालों से चेन्नई में रहने की वजह से वो प्रैक्टिस इतनी खराब हो गई है मेरी कि अब जब मैं हिंदी बोलती हूँ मुझे खुद ही लग रहा होता है कि मैं कोई फॉरेन लैंग्वेज बोल रही हूँ क्या. पहले मैं बहुत ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल होती थी. मैं दिल्ली से, तो दिल्ली वाली हिंदी तो आती ही है, मगर अब इतने सालों से हिंदी ठीक से बात नहीं करी है. यहाँ पे कोई भी किसी को भी हिंदी में कोई खास समझ नहीं आती है, तो इतना चांस नहीं मिलता बात करने का हिंदी में. सो आई थिंक कि अब मेरी हिंदी थोड़ी सी अनकंफर्टेबल सी हो गई है. हैविंग सेड दैट, मेरे को मजा बहुत आता है हिंदी में बात करके. मुझे लगता है जो असली मसाला जो हिंदी में साउंड करता है ना, उसका मजा ही कुछ और होता है. सो आई टोटली आई होप, एक्चुअली मेरे को एक्चुअली वर्ड नहीं होता. मुझे ना एक्चुअली वो स्टार्ट करना है, रोज का एक हिंदी डेली का 5 मिनट या कुछ. अगर आपको एक्साइटिंग लग रहा है कि यस पूजा रोज 5 मिनट के लिए कोई टिप्पणी दे दो हिंदी में, तो मजेदार होगा ना. एक हफ्ते के लिए जरूर मैं ट्राई करूंगी. मे बी नेक्स्ट वीक at some point I'll do Puja daily. पूजा डेली को हिंदी में हम क्या बुला सकते हैं? कोई मुझे चैट बॉक्स में बताए। पूजा डेली को अगर मुझे करना हो तो हिंदी में पूजा पर्सपेक्टिव को हिंदी में क्या बोल सकते हैं? तो ठीक है, तो उसको मैं हिंदी में ट्राई करती हूँ 7 दिन के लिए एग्जैक्टली कोई 7 चीजें, 7 ways to increase your self esteem, 7 ways to open your abundance chakra, 7 ways, कोई 7 ways करके हिंदी में, ठीक है? सो थैंक यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग दैट अप। इट्स समथिंग आई हैव बीन वांटिंग टू डू, लेट्स सी कब होता है। Nidhi, how to react when your old best friend just ignores you and does not treat you the way it used to be previously? Nidhi, for me, every friendship, when someone starts to behave differently, is a red flag. So I always say this, that means it needs addressing. कि भाई क्या हो गया? And most of us feel that if I just let it pass, maybe it will get okay. The real truth is, if you let it pass, it doesn't get okay. You get uncomfortable. So very important is to call up your friend and say, coffee पे चलेगी? And call her for coffee and say, यार क्या हुआ आजकल तू थोड़ा फर्क behave कर रही है? And if the other person refuses or denies it कि नहीं मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं किया मतलब, and then you can tell her incident. So she may say कि नहीं, you are overreading it. Okay, if I'm overreading it, from here onwards I won't overread it. So वहीं पे वो बात क्लियर हो गई। अगर कुछ है तो you've given her a platform to share it. कई लोगों को ना थोड़ा टाइम लगता है टू कन्फ्रंट, वो जल्दी से केव में घुस जाते हैं, वो जल्दी फेस पे चीजों को क्लियर आउट नहीं करते हैं। पीपल डोंट क्लियर आउट थिंग्स सो इजिली, सो यू नीड टू क्रिएट स्पेस। द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग वेन एवर यू आर अड्रेसिंग एन इशू विद अ फ्रेंड और विद अ पर्सन इज ऑलवेज टू अड्रेस इट इन आई, never in you. What do I mean when I say that? I will say, I am feeling hurt. I am feeling neglected. I am feeling like something's not right. Is there anything I have done? Rather than, you are being cold to me. You have not been talking to me. You are being, you're being arrogant with me, or whatever it is that you're experiencing. Don't ever use you, use I. I am feeling like this. And let the other person justify whatever it is that they've been doing. And if they convince you, great. If they don't convince you, just let it pass. Sometimes even addressing it mildly at least makes the other person aware. And if they don't want to make it confrontational, वो अपने आप ही उसी चीज को ही ठीक कर देते हैं. So you don't have to go in to get a full-on solution. Your ability to address it itself is a solution. Mohana_Vicky, hi Pooja, give me some activities for mom to be positive without acknowledging her, as she's alone when I go to my place. Mohana, you know what? One of the most beautiful things that's happened this year is that my mom has actually got involved in my work, and that's keeping her so busy helping other people that she loves life now. So I'm going to ask you, can you think of a way where your mom can start to contribute? Doesn't matter if she makes money from it or not, but is there any way she can start to help? See, what in her heart does she love doing? Does she love children? Does she love old age people? Does she love coaching? See who she would like to help, and then create an environment for her where she can start to reach out to people for her to be able to help people. Because I do believe that once you shift your focus to helping people, you just automatically become an extremely positive person. So one of the things I highly recommend, and I really hope that someday I start to create a set of coaches. Ratan Tata, I think, recently did this, where he started to take college students and combine them with old age homes and create a setup where youngsters can learn from the experience of elders, and the elders can learn technology and all the young cool things from the youngsters. There's so much of knowledge gap between the two, where each one has their own set and yet nobody appreciates nobody. So I feel like in a world that we are living, let's see how we can start to make our mothers' lives meaningful. I think that's beautiful to do, and I think it really makes them come alive at an age where they had started to murjhao, wilt away. So I think of how you can, I think the best way to help someone last in their positivity is to make them make someone else positive. Just feeling positive on your own through some activities is just not enough. Of course, having said that, if she can start to do gratitude, that is always beautiful, but I don't know in what state she is. A lot of women of that age get a little religious, that they enjoy. Look for what is she passionate about. My mother-in-law loves playing cards, and I can tell you it it keeps her so alive. That's one of her passions. She truly, like, you know, every day looks forward to her ke after 2 o'clock, after she's babysat my Devrani sister-in-law's children for pretty much the morning, either pick up, drop, school, whatever she feels like doing. Evening is her time with her friends playing cards. And I love that because she's so self-sufficient in her emotional needs. Deepshika is saying your Hindi has a Punjabi accent. Definitely, Deepshika. I mean, the Punjabi influence is you cannot miss it. Oh, Nutan is saying Dainik Puja. Nice. I like that. Bhargavi is saying, why did you get settled in Chennai? Just curious. Bhargavi, because my husband is from Chennai, sweetheart. So I got married from Delhi to Chennai. I love Chennai, by the way, because I love beach. That's one of my, like, I love water body. I love the coconut trees. Chennai has lovely greenery, beautiful, wonderful people. So fortunately for me, from day one, I've always loved, I mean, I still run back to Delhi for shopping or for good food. I still think Delhi food and shopping is way superior. But having said that, Chennai has its own charm. Neha Charan is saying Puja ke vichar. Anshu also. Okay, nice. Puja Rojana. Oh, Nidhi, that's also so cool. I'm telling you, I'm going to stop branding myself and start using all of you for my branding. You guys are so good. Jajodia is saying, 69 is saying Puja Har Rose. Oh, I love this. Team Life by Design, can someone just make a note of all these names? They're so cool. Puja Ke Vichar, Puja Rozana, Puja Har Rose, Puja Pratidin, Puja Ki Pathshala. Oh my God, that's too cute. Puja Ki Pathshala, Puja Dainik, Rozana Puja. Okay, so I love, one of these I can easily choose and do. Thank you, all of you. Very nice. I think the one I'm most attracted to is Puja Ki Pathshala. Somehow I like the PP of it. Himanshu's Vivek Goyal is asking, ma'am, how to be consistent? Himanshu, the most important thing when you're looking at consistency is same time, same thing every day, right? So you want to start to schedule and start to create a calendar. Okay, take a printout of 1 to 31 and let's say you've decided that every single day you want to do 15 minutes of meditation. I'm taking any example, you decide. Take a big red marker and draw a heart every single day on that particular date as you continuously keep doing it. And the concept is called I cannot break the chain. What you can't do is you cannot break the chain. So the chain of hearts, the maximum you can go is 2 crosses, after which the heart must come back. So the maximum gap between your consistent activity can be only 2 crosses, which is 48 hours. I'm asking you to build your consistency muscle not on things that you need to do once a week, but on things that you need to do daily so that you can build your consistency muscle over the 21 days. So that can be activity 1, right? And then the next week you can add, okay, along with my meditation, I'd like to do gratitude. So 1 red heart, and then inside that, like a rainbow, you can put 1 orange heart. And then inside that, you can put a blue heart. And so like that, you can build activities associated with color onto the calendar, remembering that no day should it become like more than 2 days, which is more than 48 hours of cross. So you cannot break the chain. Just go with this and start to do it. I'm telling you, you'll have so much fun. Stick it somewhere on a corkboard or on your cupboard or somewhere so that every single day you are following it. Set consequences or set rewards, okay? So one of the things I do is, okay, on Sunday, if I want to have dessert, then I have to do 6 days of intermittent fasting. If I get 6 days of intermittent fasting, then on Sunday, I've earned myself a Sunday. Sunday on a Sunday, hai na? So like that you can have so much fun. Those are like rewards, and then you can even set consequences. For example, I will only get to watch my serial every evening if I have done my gratitude that day. And if I haven't done my gratitude, I have to finish my gratitude before I get to see the serial that I like to watch every single day, right? So things like this, you can either create consequences or you can create rewards. Both ways, what will happen is it keeps you in check. The most important thing is that for most of us, we don't have bosses, or we don't have bosses in the things that we want to become consistent in. So if you have to be your own boss, you have to set your own rewards and consequences, okay? Misty_dusk. How to keep the vibration and frequency high throughout the day? Misty, I always say this, that actually it's not possible to keep your vibration and frequency high throughout the day. Look at your energy centers, which means some of us are very high energy in the morning. Some of us are very high energy in the evening. We all have different times of the day. So for example, when I'm speaking to my friends who have children under the age of 2, when if they've not slept the whole night, guess when are they at their weakest? At 7, 8 at 9 o'clock in the morning. So for them, that's their time to go back to sleep, because they hand over the child either to the mother-in-law, mother, staff, someone, and then they go back to sleep till 12 o'clock because they've not slept the whole night thanks to the baby. So their energy centers is, when is their highest energy? Normally after lunch, which is normally for reverse for people who are working, because after lunch is when your energy drops for a lot of people. For a lot of people, we are night owls. So our energy is at the highest when everyone's gone to sleep in the house. Bacche so gaye, sab log so gaye. Ab 9 o'clock onwards, it's your time with you till 12 o'clock. So like that, you have to see when are your energy centers, and you need to keep, you need to see that in the day, when are you going to rest and when are you going to work. So what is going to be your routine like? Plan your routine in that manner. If you're generally asking me how to keep your vibration and frequency up, there are many things you can do in the day to do so. One is, one of my teachers, what he loves doing is, every time he touches a handle, he does gratitude. So he keeps himself positive. When he opens the car door, he does gratitude. When he opens his room door, when he opens his house door, whenever he touches a handle, when he opens a drawer, handle touching is his trigger to do gratitude. So that's one way. There's a lovely app called Breathly. I don't know if you've seen it. Another thing that you can do is set it at 3 minutes and just do deep breathing. They have different kinds of breaths you can practice. So they have the awakening breath, which really pumps you with energy. They have the deep calm. So if you're feeling anxiety or any of those things, just do the deep calm. It's all breathe in, hold, breathe out at different seconds, how long the gap is and all of that. Very interesting app. Download that, you can do that. So those are little things that you can do. If you can just create a lovely joy list and start to follow that every single day, just look at what are the 1, 2 or 3 things you can do every single day to bring in joy into your life. One of the easiest ways to take your vibration up is to do things that give you joy. For me, it could just be walking in the mall. It could be speaking to my mom. It could be, enjoying. Yesterday, I ate dhokla after many days and I was freaking out on eating dhokla. So that was a good thing to do. I was enjoying myself. So see what charms you and do that. Yeah. Trisha, at times, ma'am, in case of repetitive conflicts, even if we found a solution and have communicated the expectations, still the person in front doesn't seem to remember it. How to improve the communication? Trisha, if someone has decided not to honor your, communication, then you need to find out from them what it is that they're not, why is it that they're not able to do it, okay? So a lot of times I'll communicate something only to realize that person is not capable of the expectations I'm having from them. Let's say I tell my son, I'd like you to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He's on holiday right now down from London. He wakes up every day at like 11, 12, 1, depending on what his night routine has been, right? So then it's a false expectation. Even if I put it across, he'll do it for 3 days and then somehow he goes back to his original way, because these days these children are playing video games at night, or they have such a massive night routine that it's difficult for him to follow the routine that Puneet and I follow, which is like waking up really early and all of that. So once I realized that he can't match my expectations, I have to then change my expectations to acceptance. So see if you can start to accept that this person is not capable of giving you what it is you're expecting. Now, if he's not capable of giving you, why should you make that a drama thing every single day? Why can't you let it go then? If it is non-negotiable, then you need to communicate further. You need to find out. Like if my son was missing school because of not being able to sleep at night, that I can't allow, right? So then it's a different conversation. Right now he's on holiday. Even if he wakes up at 11 o'clock, there's no consequences such. So it's okay. So it's all about realizing the expectation, realizing who the other person is. Like I remember at one point I told Puneet, I need you to give me a compliment every day. But he doesn't remember to do so. His love language is not compliments. So he very sweetly put an alarm on his phone. Now, for most people, that would be blasphemous. It would be like, oh my God, no, I don't want someone to remind themselves to give me a compliment. That is so fake. But you know what? Honestly, in the beginning, it did feel a little fake, but now it's become a new habit with him. So at 7 o'clock, when it says compliment Puja, very sweetly, genuinely, he'll look around the house and say, oh, I see you've put beautiful flowers. Oh, I see you've gone and colored your hair. Oh, I see you've, and then he notices something genuinely and tells me. Now, I can hold it against him for the rest of my life that, you need a reminder to give me a compliment. Oh my God, that means you really don't love me because it doesn't come from your heart. I can have all of those conversations, but he's come up with a way which suits him. I get what I want, he does it his way. Now, some women will not like this, but I love it. Honestly speaking, Puneet is fabulous at genuinely complimenting me when he gets the reminder. So it's worked out for us. Is it a compromised way of getting a compliment? Of course, in the beginning, it did feel like that. I did feel like, do I even want it then if this is how I'm going to get it? And eventually I've realized that he's become so much more complimenting since the training has happened. So I had to be very patient. So it may not be your first option when you are communicating to the person what your expectations are. It may be a second best option. But you know what? In life, what I've noticed over time is our second best option is our first best option. Because the first best option is a fantasy. The first best option is that my husband should wake up every morning and compliment me from morning to evening. Yes, absolutely. Who wouldn't love that? But is that going to happen? No. So that's a fantasy, right? The same way I want you to see what in your life are you creating fantasies out of. Our first option is normally a fantasy. I would love it if my parents behaved this way. I would love it if my brother behaved this way. I would love it if my children behaved this way. I would love it if my children came first in class. I would love it. So all of our fantasies is the best option, but the best option is not at which we operate in life. We actually operate at the second level, which is the second best option. What is your first best option doesn't exist, so therefore what's the second best option? And if we can start to fall in love with the fact that at least we are getting the second best option, not that, oh, I didn't get my first best option so I don't want it only. And a lot of times we shut down because we are not having it our way. I really always say communicate long enough that at least the second best option becomes a possibility. And if you can start to get everything in your life at the second best option, you are very lucky. Honestly. Starseed creation by Deepti. What to do when your in-laws dislike you and push you out of the house when you are financially not stable? Starseed creation, honestly speaking, we are at the mercy of our husbands and in-laws because of the way the patriarchal society is created. The woman was supposed to be protected and provided for, and therefore we became very weak as the feminine power because anybody could decide anything, because in the hierarchy of the patriarchy, father-in-law, mother-in-law come right on top, then the husband, then his siblings, and I say along with the staff of the house is where the daughter-in-law really fits in. So if that is our truth, then we have to accept that the first thing we have to work on is making ourselves strong. So the fact that you're not financially stable, can you take 1 or 2 years to become financially stable so that the next time they chuck you out of the house, you go, okay, you know what, if you are wanting to do this, then let me tell you, I'm not even coming back. Most of the time, how someone treats us is because we have no other option and they know that. Once you start to get stronger and more powerful, the same people who mistreat you start to put you on a pedestal. And it's crazy how the world changes when you become successful. So to you, I will recommend, please come for my masterclass. I am passionately helping women make money, create their own identity. You know why? Because this is what I have biggest fear about. That what do those women do who are not yet empowered enough to live their life their way? So I'm going to ask each one of you here that I want you to start to, if you come from my tribe, I want you to start to get financially stable. Now, financially stable doesn't always mean making your own money, but it does mean organizing yourself where you have someone where there is a constant income flowing towards you, whether it's your husband who gives it or your in-laws or your parents or some rental or some passive income you're creating. It doesn't matter from where it's coming. A lot of times we think, oh, each one of us has to earn our own money. Well, if you don't have anyone to support you, yes, you have to earn your own money. Otherwise, you have to find who is ready to protect and provide for you, right? Now, if you're able to find someone like that, great. If not, that means you are the category that needs to earn their own money. It takes about 700 days to get financially independent. To get a job is much faster. Again, you may start at the bottom of the ladder, but you know what? Over the years, I always say we women are so smart. We can grow ourselves to reach a place where we can become completely and 100% financially independent. We have to start to dream. I remember the first time I told my husband, I want to buy you a car. He laughed at me and he said, Pooja, if you can look after yourself and earn more than the staff in our house itself is a very big deal, sweetheart. Which he was true actually. At that point I wasn't earning anything, but I was like, if I ever earn money na, I'll buy you a car. And he was like, रहने दे, तू अपना ही ख्याल रख ले, बहुत बड़ी बात है. And then, you know what, over the years today, I can buy him a car. I have reached that place where I can afford things like that. And at that point, he may have laughed, and I also did not know whether what I was saying was the truth or was it me just fantasizing. But if I didn't have the courage to dream, how could have I reached here? Correct? So I'm going to ask you, start to, on paper, dreaming, my sweetheart. The same people who currently dislike you are the same people who will praise you when you take your sweet revenge, as I call it. Okay, so while it may feel very dark right now where you are feeling stuck, I want you to know there's a lot of hope at the end of the tunnel for all of us women. I always say that the next 10 years is the decade of the woman. At no point in the history of the world did the woman have this many opportunities where from home, thanks to COVID, life has completely changed and we can all make money sitting in the comforts of our bedroom today. That option itself exists for us. Now it's all about how creative you are, how willing you are, how hardworking you are. And if you are really interested in taking revenge, don't take revenge by begging them to let you stay. Take revenge by becoming so powerful that they should ask you to stay. And that's where I want to lead you. Now, right now, it may not feel like what I'm saying is your truth, but it can become your truth if you're willing to walk that journey. Come, become a coach with me. Let me help you grow into that person that can become financially 100% independent. I have done it for a lot of ladies in the last 2 years. I have a huge tribe now of women who have become financially independent. Why not you, my Jan? So come, join me. I'd love to help you. Or if you already have something that you're doing, grow that and become that person. Because you know what? I think it's time. I think the next generation of daughters and daughter-in-laws will not have this issue. I do not think we are going to leave our daughters or daughter-in-laws at the mercy, especially daughters, at the mercy of how the in-laws would like to treat them just because they are financially. I think all of our daughters should get some sort of income from their parents and not be 100% dependent on their in-laws. And some people may think that advice as wrong because they feel like, oh, then the daughter may become arrogant that she's getting money from her parents, so why should she adjust, tolerate, sacrifice? How come we never use these words for the men, adjust, tolerate, and sacrifice? Why should these words be used only for the woman? So I do believe in my heart that why should your daughter adjust, sacrifice, and tolerate? Why can't she go into that house having her own position and the man having his own position, and both of them are together because they love each other, not because they're dependent on each other for any other reason but wanting to be with one another. I think that's how society needs to recreate itself. I think it's about time we stopped looking at daughters as liabilities and sons as assets. I think both are equally an asset today. We've started to educate our daughters, so we need to really change our mindset, and it won't get changed till each one of us doesn't start to become financially independent. Because whatever said and done, if your finances are in the hands of someone else, no matter how amazing or good they are, please be sure of that somewhere you are under them. And if you don't want to be under someone, then you better get yourself financially independent. That's the basic fuel of life. One of my teachers says even a cow can feed a family of 4. We are the human beings with intelligence. Can we not afford look after ourselves? I think it's about time we started to do that. I know you may have wanted a different answer, but I know I am so passionate about women starting to make their own money that I never speak against the in-laws, because I feel like if you give someone that kind of power, they are going to misuse it, because wherever there is power, it depends on how the person is. If it's a good person, maybe they won't misuse it, but most people don't know how to handle power. So when they have power in their hands, they normally tend to... Himanshi is asking, how to be confident in an interview? Himanshi, I think the most important question that you ask yourself as you go into an interview is, how can you contribute? And till the time all your answers are of that energy, then I feel like you are doing, that is to me confidence in an interview. I want to know from that person what and how will they be able to add value to my company, right? And if I see them proactive in learning, if someone comes and tells me, Puja, I don't have the qualification, but if you can give me a month, I'm willing to learn, then that kind of person I absolutely love in my business, right? So I want that category that is interested in learning, because these days it's very hard to get a pre-पका हुआ papaya, you know what I mean, कि उसको पहले से ही सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए. I think that's expecting too much unless you're hiring at a very high level. For most people, I think we have to bring them in and train them to become that person who can start to do the work that we need from them. And I think somebody who shows me that they are proactive in learning, to me that is one of the most important qualities of a interview, that how forthcoming, how keen are they in new learning, how dedicated are they to make a difference, and how much are they driven to prove themselves. Those qualities to me show me someone's confidence, rather than someone coming in and showing off about all of their qualifications, but when they get down to work, वो दम ही नहीं है, you know. Gomati, hello ma'am, procrastination makes me back towards my destination. How do I deal with it? I think I should just give one 30 minutes procrastination video and then put it on my Instagram का वो जो जहाँ पे वो सारे videos रखते हैं ना लोग वहाँ पर, because I feel like this is such a question that comes up almost on every Instagram, where I'm forever speaking about how we as a society are diseased by delay. There's a full disease going on in humanity right now, where it's just so easy to delay. The number of distractions in our life have increased so much, whether it is Netflix or it is social media or it is scrolling here and there, or it is, you know, everything has become on a touch of a phone, which is constantly in our hand. So we are like literally walking, talking distraction. Full time we are walking, talking distraction. How much willpower is someone supposed to have? Now that we understand that, how can we protect ourselves from distraction? So if you can make a list of everything that tends to make you procrastinate, and if you can slowly and steadily start to remove them from your life, I think that in itself will help you immensely. So look at what are those 1, 2 or 3 things in a day that you tend to waste time, and see if you can give them up for a month. So for 1 month, I'll give up my Pakistani plays. Sometimes I'll give up my sleep. Sometimes I'll give up my something that has shown up as a distraction. It wasn't there on my phone, but some friend suggested some game. I downloaded Dots, let's say, and now I'm suddenly spending 2 hours playing Dots, going from next level to next level to next level. So you want to remove all your procrastinations. Another thing, of course, I always speak about is the Mel Robbins 5-second rule. The minute I know that I'm procrastinating something, I want to do it immediately. So instead of allowing myself, once the word, I remember for me, the word used to be perfectionism. So whenever I used to be wanting to launch something and I used to say, let me get this perfect. Oh my God, I knew at that moment that I'm buying time to delay. My procrastination looks like perfectionism. It doesn't look like procrastination, because I'm not lazy. I'm just someone who likes things a certain standard. And so I realized that's what I used to hide behind. So I want you to look at what are the things you hide behind. So the minute the word used to come, I need to get this perfect, I used to launch immediately. I used to say, I'll perfect it after the launch, but not before, because I know my standards are already high enough and no one else knows what is missing. Only I know what is missing. I remember the first time I was starting Instagram, I was so nervous, because I was like, what if it goes off? What if I don't know how to do it? What if I'm not able to read the questions? What if I'm missing people's questions? What if? And there were 100 what ifs. But you know what? Nobody's going to get this right till you don't do it week after week after week. So in the first week, I realized, you know what? I like to wait, but for everybody to come before I start answering. But how to wait? So I said, okay, maybe I can just play some music for the first 2-3 minutes till people are coming in. So that's how the music got introduced. My cup of tea, something that I really enjoy is my cup of tea. So I love drinking my tea while I'm answering questions. Another thing that got built. So slowly, we've reached where we've reached, correct? But in the beginning, it was not like this. I was making, sometimes the volume used to go off, sometimes every day was a new disaster that I had to solve, right? I mean, just last week or last to last week, I uploaded the video and half the people on Android couldn't hear me. Then another week was there where my internet gave me issues. So I think perfectionism or procrastination happens when we want things to be a certain way, give that up and just start to do them. Just getting into action is the biggest gift you can give yourself. So every day ask yourself today on what are the 3 things I'm going to be taking action on. Gayatri Gayu, how to deal with a narcissist, especially when it is your own sibling who is like your pet from childhood. So Gayatri, the problem with narcissists is that they twist the stories and they make it your fault. And so once you start to understand that they are going to suit their convenience 100%, you can still continue to love them, but you don't need to get hurt with their stories. You need to give them the permission that this is who they are. And you know what? I can't change their personality. I can only accept them for who they are. Do they still deserve your love because they are your siblings? Absolutely. So see if you can love them over and beyond who they are rather than waiting for them to change so that you can love them. And one of the things I've realized is there are some relationships God has given us which are permanent, and there are some that we can go away from. The ones that we can go away from, why should we adjust to a narcissist? But then there are some relationships where I feel like, you know what? These relationships were not chosen by us. They were chosen by God. And because they were chosen by God, this person deserves my love because they are my permanent relationships. Not because they deserve it, but because God has chosen them to receive this from me. And when the more I give to these people, the more God will give me because I am fulfilling the duty that God set out for me. It has nothing to do with them. And it makes it very easy for me to love people when I know that this is the permanent part of my journey where I have to show up no matter what. It just becomes much easier to deal with these people. And over time, if you can grow a thick skin towards the things that they say, realizing that this is who they are, then it becomes so much easier. Otherwise, every time you're just going to come away hurt. And when you allow someone to hurt you so much, your heart gets small and it gets petty and it gets bitter. And you want to be very careful about your heart not becoming bitter and petty. So get your love from someone else and give it to these people because they are who they are and we can't change them. We shouldn't even try changing them. I think loving them is our best chance of even being able to change them. So I don't know if this really helped you, darling, but see how you can use it. Yeah? Sparkling Soul Heals. Ma'am, please answer. I get hurt very easily when my husband says anything to me which he later on says that he was joking. I relate everything with if he loves me, then how can he hurt me? What to do? Sparkling Souls, one of the things I've always told myself, I can't remember where I heard it, was that I do not measure my self-worth through the eyes of my husband or through the eyes of my spouse. Okay, the job of the spouse is it's a very karmic connection with our spouse. So their hurting and their loving, both are very extreme. So what happens is that if you remain too open energetically to them, the chances are they'll have too much power over you. And you don't want to give so much power to someone who is mildly negative in terms of, even if he's joking and it's hurting you, I think it's about time you let him know that every time you joke, it hurts me. Okay, and every time he jokes, I want you to use this sentence because I want him and everyone that he's joking in front of to get uncomfortable. So when the next time he says, look at your hair, you're looking like a gollywog. Let's say he was just joking. You say, oh, that hurt me. Oh. And I can tell you, people who joke do not like their jokes to be addressed emotionally. They are actually, what they are doing is they are putting the hurt under the carpet, and what you're doing is you're lifting the carpet and saying, look, this is not okay for me. Look, this is not okay for me. So every time someone jokingly passes a remark to me, it's not, I never make them defensive by saying, why did you say that? I always say, oh, that was so mean. I felt so hurt. I don't think you're the kind to be this mean. Or I didn't know that, you could say something like that. On their face, there and then in front of everyone. And you do this 3 times, I can guarantee you his jokes will reduce. Okay? So I feel like what we normally do is at that point when they are laughing it off, we also laugh it off. Because we don't want to make a scene, we don't want to create drama, we are not the kinds who will, so in us, so they don't need to be sensitive to us, but we have to be sensitive to them. That's not a fair equation in the first place. So for me, the easiest way of putting someone in their place is saying, That hurt me. I didn't find it funny. Not funny to me. And let the silence of after your sentence stay. You don't need to break the silence. You don't need to do anything. You just need to say this and keep quiet. Let someone else make it a joke and let it pass. You don't need to redo it. If someone else lets it pass, let it pass. But people will stop joking with you when they will realize that you don't have a sense of humor when it comes to people demeaning you. And that's not funny to you, and they should know that. Yashna, how to become disciplined and consistent when you get off track. Plus, how to lead a balanced life if you loads of personal, professional, social responsibilities and obligations. So as far as discipline and consistency is concerned, when you get off track, the best thing to do is to restart in whichever manner that you'd like to. So I always say it's a muscle. You cannot go into the gym on day one and lift 100 kilos. A lot of times, either we want to do a full disciplined life or we don't want to follow a disciplined life. I normally say introduce 1, 2, 3 things every week. By the end of the year, you'll have 12 to 24 new, gorgeous, amazing habits. And remember, our habits become our behavior becomes our personality becomes our second nature someday. So if you really want to own your second nature as a beautiful soul, if you want to become, then work with these new habits that you can create, okay? Whenever you go off track, just put yourself back on track. A lot of us tend to punish ourselves for getting off track. It's a long life. We are not going to be able to be on track at all times, all the way. It doesn't work like that. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. So I think it's about time we understood that every now and then something will happen. Like now I have a wedding in my very close friend's son's wedding, and I know that the next 2 weeks, in regard to food, in regard to discipline, in regard to waking up, like tonight is going to be a late night, so I know that tomorrow morning there's no way I can work. So I've taken off till lunch tomorrow morning, and I've already equipped myself into knowing that I'm not even going to try. You think I'm going to wake up at 4 o'clock and follow my routine tomorrow morning? Absolutely not. I'm not even going to try. I know the next 2 weeks are going to totally throw me off track as far as discipline is concerned, because dance practices are going to start, and it's my time to really enjoy that whole social portion that you're talking about. And I'm totally okay with it, because these happen in windows. It doesn't happen all the time. And so I'd love for you to create a list of what are those things personally that you would love to do. What are the things professionally that you'd love to do. There's a lot of the things that socially you would love to do. And then start to score them in priority. Which ones are your priorities? Very important for you to know. Like for example, my priority number 1 is travel. Now that I know that my travel comes even above my work, I'm willing to carry my work with my travel. I'm leaving for Goa tomorrow, and I'm totally comfortable with whatever work will show up there. I'll happily do it. I never complain about my work on travel, because I know my love for travel is greater than any other love. And if I have to sacrifice that for my work, I will start to resent my work. Right? But I'm willing to carry it with me. So what is it? I now know in my list of personal, travel is higher than my professional, and I know my social is the least. So when my social commitments show up, I enjoy myself, but I know that I'm not much of a social person. After 1 or 2 days of being social, I won't call myself introvert. I feel like that's the wrong word, but I am just a person who needs a lot of me time. And I love my me time, and after a while, parties just start to get to me. So I'm not a very party person. Now that I know that about myself, I know first 1 or 2 parties I'll enjoy a lot. By the end of it, I'm done. So the more you recognize yourself, the more balance you can bring into your life. The most important thing is for you to know what it is you like, what it is you don't like. No point doing all of that and then realizing, actually, I would have liked to have done it this way or that way. Sometimes I sacrifice, let's say, my travel. Like one of the things that's happening in November is the weekend, which is very important for my work, is also the weekend where I have some engagement where I need to travel. And I'm not able to decide which one to choose. And that's creating so much conflict in me, because I'm just like wondering, okay, that one or that one, that one or that one. And I know whichever one I will choose, the other one, I'm going to feel guilt or regret. One of these emotions is going to show up. But if I can prepare myself for guilt and regret, if I can write a letter to myself saying, no, Puja, now that you're making the choice, you are not allowed to feel guilty because you had a choice. You could have chosen the other. Nobody else is choosing it for you. You are making the choice. Then how are you allowing yourself to feel negative after you only are making the choice? So these are conversations we have to have with ourselves, because a lot of times what we do is we make the choice we want to, and then we hammer ourselves for why we didn't choose the other, because we feel guilty or we feel regretful later on. Maybe whatever I land up choosing, I realize that I wish I had chosen the other, because both were 49-51, correct? So I want you to start to go, you know what, as I make my choices, one thing I will not do is hammer myself. If I've made my choice, then I'm going to marry my choice, and then I'm not going to look at the other thing as an option. I'm going to say, this is what I want. And I think that's a very important conversation to have with ourselves when we are trying to balance all of these things in our life. And I can tell you currently right now, I have all three in full form. Personally, I had just gone to a health farm in June, and I don't want to leave my yoga. Every morning at 5:30 when my yoga teacher comes somewhere deep down, I'm like, oh, it's raining. Maybe he won't show up. In Chennai, it's been raining the last 3 days. So there's a part of me that doesn't want him to show up, but there's a part of me that's so grateful that he's coming every morning. So I think just living in the conflict of knowing that what we want and what we need and what we desire and the things that create balance, they all create a lot of conflict in our hearts. So doing the right thing for ourselves is not easy, but the more we do it, the more our confidence goes up, the more balance, the more harmony, the more alignment we feel. So why I'm sharing all of this with you, Yashna, is because somewhere what we are trying to do is not really that we don't know what to choose. It is that when that conflict shows up, we start to feel guilty, we start to feel regretful, we start to feel negative emotions. Protect yourself from the negativity of your own choices, okay? And start to be proud that, you know what, I'm able to deal with that inner voice that continuously keeps on troubling me, but I know how to deal with it. That resistance that shows up every day, because no matter what I'm doing, my brain is going to tell me, or that inner voice or resistance is going to tell me, you should have done the other. Today also when I went for the Nalagu, everybody was like, can't you just move your Insta live to the evening? Of course I could have. You know, but you know what, then the evening I also have another function to go for. I have another Q&A. I'll have to move all of those around. Did I get to enjoy 2 hours of Nalagu? Absolutely. Did I need to be for 3 hours there? Absolutely not. So what did I do? I made my choices. 2 hours there, then back home at 9:45, 10 o'clock sharp, start the Insta Live. Every day like this, we are making these choices. Then why beat ourselves? Yeah. All right, I'm going to go right to the bottom. Oh, it's already 10:54. How fast time goes, hai na? Okay, let me quickly read out all the winners of last week. Okay, so the participants of last week. Firstly, I'm so proud of each one of you here who participates. I'm going to request each one of you here to please start to do this, okay? Take a picture, put it in your stories, put your takeaway from today. It could be 1, 2, or 3. Some of you write paragraphs, which is, God bless you, that's a lot of writing you do, but you just need to put 1 or 2 takeaways or 1 word that you received from the Insta Live today, and I will be happy to share it, okay? All you need to do is tag me, Puja_Puneet, take my photo, put what you learned for the day, and that's all you need to do, okay? So in a moment, we'll also take pictures. These are the people who are doing a fabulous job of, and remember, September is coming. September is when I do the Zoom call to see all of you. I'm super duper excited. Participants of the week: Puja Borse Official, Devika_wins, Shrimukh 2007, eCafe 12, Gauri 1811, Muttu Mari, Kavita Jain Coach, Anubha Sahai _coach, Reset with Rakhi Official, Aditi_Ashish Kumar, Innovative Tarot Trupti, Ruchi Chauhan, Naina Dhumash, Nisa QR, Ujwala Madhvi, Kaveri Shubham, Divine Light 66, Vivek Vasanta, Coach by Research, Mona Mika's Bakes, Soumya Subhana, Image Design Consultancy, Komal Shah _10, Anita Gupta.official, Neha Karan 86, Pooja Ramesh Punjab, Allure Crown, Sakina Sheikh, Shamanjit K, Mindset Emotional NLP, Motion NLP, Anjali Divedi 03, Megha Kapoor's, Vijaya Kopikar, book by Tess with Kavita, Lakshmi Ravishankar _official. Awesome! 34 of you participating, and the winners, another 3 are Anuradha _Varun. Congratulations, you have just won yourself Unlocking the Golden Cage ka book. Mamta Datta 113, you too, 11. And Precious Mom _moms are marvelous. So Anuradha, Mamta and Precious Mom, super congratulations. My team will get in touch with you to get your address, and we will very soon be couriering the book to you. God bless you, my sweethearts. Thank you so much for doing this week after week after week after week. I love it that, you land up doing this. Thank you today for all your suggestions on what I could do with Hindi. I know there are still so many questions in the chat box that I wish I could have answered. I can see some such exciting and interesting questions. I keep missing all these amazing questions that you keep asking, because unfortunately I can't answer everyone's question. So my personal apologies to if your question did not get answered, especially to those who week after week come in and put your questions. Remember, the earlier you come into the Insta Live, the more the chances of your question getting answered. Though I try my best that in the end I go right to the bottom and answer someone's question who's just come in, but most of the time what tends to happen is that, the questions that get answered, and those that don't get missed, okay? All right, everyone, let's photo time. So I'm going to request all of you very quickly take a picture. I'll give you the 3-4 poses that now I've gotten used to giving to all of you. The thumbs up, the teacup, the side smile. It's funny na how I do all this. This is my naughty side. Correct or no? Fabulous. All right, and any other? You have any suggestions on the kind of poses I can give you? All right, I will see you next Wednesday again. I am going to Goa, so see you. Bye. Love you all. Take care. Enjoy yourselves. Have a fabulous week. Don't forget to put it in your stories so that I can share your posts. And if there's anything else I can do for you, I'd love to. Draman Patel saying dancing pose. Ooh, dancing pose. English with Deepti saying, yes, you've never answered my questions. I'm sending you double luck, Deepti, that May next week, yours is the first question I answer. Okay? So, always apologies. Hair on one side. Wah, 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 wah. क्या करवाते हो आप लोग हमसे? हाँ? ये अच्छा है, interesting है. All right. Okay, that was good fun. Thank you everyone for coming. Loads of love. Bye. Have a great day. Ciao.